are symbols of the soul and mind. It is also as the mental conception of the metaphysical upon the emotions and its results upon the body and soul. There is a feeling in these metaphysical groups that what they do is truly metaphysical, despite their clear focus on psychedelics and pseudopsychiatry. In a sense, they are right, because everything is spiritual for the fact that the realms and beings that transcend the physical are always playing a role. That includes human souls and human spirits. And Ekankar fallen leaves are those who haven't lived up to their initiations. Is that true with the Ekankar conception of Ek masters? In Islam, with its 114 suwar of Al-Quran, suwar is the plural of surah. One must remember, surah means rank or step in a structure. One who learns one of these and doesn't practice or express it can said to have fallen from their rank. The ruler and square is as the constellation Norma. It represents knowledge and expression. It represents a straightening. A globe into squares represents the squareness of Earth. The ruler or level with the square represents the worldly tools, which then are coupled with the tools of the truly holy existence. The compass is as the constellation Circinas are pair of compasses. The circles represent the roundness of heaven. Did my mind go through the concept of 129,600 circles cast in every direction? The disappearing of the Temple of Ek in Chanhassen, Minnesota, certainly seemed to represent breaking past constructed ideas about it. Paintings of old show what is supposed to be God, or a saintly figure using a pair of compasses to control the above and below. The symbol was also of the goal of practitioners of theurgy, thaumaturgy, and such. The workbook activities. The Ek Dream 1 Discourses by Harold Klemp has workbook activity 291 on page 204. It first asks you to highlight a passage that sticks out. On page 199, it says, "Since your dream experiences depend on you, consider yourself at the forefront of discovery." The Tiger's Fang is Paul Twitchell's account of his experiences in the spiritual world. They may never be yours. I now have the trilogy of Stranger by the River, Tiger's Fang, and Talons of Time. I can probably put my understanding of the issues of these into poems and have an experience with each. But that doesn't mean I have to have the experiences in those ways or interpret them according to Ekankar doctrine. I have my own beliefs. How do people not realize that asking the Mahanta for a dream, a purpose, or another request is a prayer and worship rather than just respect? I will worship no gendered individual. In a way, I visit the soul plane whenever I sleep, because my soul is always in its own world, even when I am not aware of its purely spiritual existence. The following page has the following workbook activity. I would like to live out or enact more of my inner thoughts and experiences in order to strengthen the bridge between inner and outer. In the past, sharing and ritualizing has encouraged me in developing my ability to think and feel my way through issues. Workbook Activity 2.9.3 is on page 206 of the ECK Dream 1 Discourses by Harold Klemp. I don't think I fear death as a Muslim, aside from occasionally wanting to try to address a wrong before dying. I don't think it is any dream master of choice that helps alleviate our fears in unique ways. I think it is our own thoughts on this matter that may be organized in our sleep to give us messages. 12 years ago, I had a dream where I was a soul watching what can only be described as a guardian angel. That was a dream that made me think of myself as a spiritual being among different spiritual beings, but now in a human body. I never thought of myself or anyone having past lives, as far as I know. I considered the possibility, but I was never convinced. The following work activity is on the next page. There may be competing spiritual forces inside and out, but I have no desire to pretend I'm having a conversation with a being that I know isn't there. I knew a woman who would use the phrase, debating with myself. I love her honestly, and how she seemed to have a lack of the delusion that most seem to have. It's been years since I talked to her, and I don't know how she has been in the past few years. Last I heard, she was with a man who also has a red beard, so pretty good, probably. No. Yeah, probably. The next workbook activity is on the following page. The idea that a dream can pay off some karmic debt relies on the principle that hardship and good deeds can help one atone for a sin. The idea that I might be repenting or replacing demerit with merit by dreams is a comforting thought. I recently dreamt about words going by really fast and it makes me wonder what the nature of the words I was reviewing were. Learning and understanding would fit more upon the good to cancel out the bad side. They ask you to complete a sentence. My dream helped me to have something interesting to think about. Page 209 has the workbook activity 2.9.6. I discovered long ago that heaven is the sky, and Eckankar-based experiences rarely touch into anything but psychedelics and projections upon reality. The truth that no Eckmaster is truly dream master of anyone but themselves seems to be a truth that reveals itself more and more to me. The problem with so-called metaphysical groups is that you don't really experience the transcendent out of wishes and wondering about it. Doesn't the holy go beyond that? The following 2 pages have the next workbook activity. It is implied that one will become more a part of one's dreams if one pays attention to the fine details of the external and internal environments in it. The spiritual exercise of the month is then gone over in detail. I don't know why it needs to say that the white stones of the garden path are firm. Walking to a temple of golden wisdom may symbolize Peter Zesk, Paul Twitchell, and Rebazar Tarz. Represents much the same as meeting Angel Gabriel, Vahumanu, Garuda, the bluebird, the big fly, the Holy Ghost, along with whoever you deem to be the main prophets of your faith. Along with the symbolism should be the second historical and 972nd Eckmaster, Dapren, Darwin Gross. I will imagine no such thing, much in the same way that I don't imagine archangels and such in cosmological rituals. One may also say this group is a representation of what is current. What was the original, and what was the and what were the sources? Oh, and what is current. What was the original, and what the source was. Entry into a long, vast room may represent making room for an experience or a set of actions. It may also represent a mental construction of the consciousness that is beyond what is simple to grasp. The imagining other Eckmasters sitting waiting for you represents a desire of approval from a hierarchy. The idea that the leaf in a box comes from the living Eckmaster represents perceived approval from a current system of authority. Is the leaf in a box about being sentimental or holding on to the remains of a dead way? The final workbook activity of this lesson is on page 202 of the Eck Dream 1 Discourses by Harold Klemp. I've had no experience with the leaf so far, except the fact that I can visualize things. In my Eckankar-related dreams, the Eckmasters never have the presence of living things or actual beings. The Mahanta doesn't give anyone gifts who doesn't encounter them in the physical body, or through communications that rely on his physical body. I can, however, wonder about the spiritual purposes of my dreams and think of how they can bring me closer to God. Now, the Eckankar doctrine may place me in such a position that I would say that I'm the reincarnation or the return of Eckmaster 666 and Ihar Hahu Pumlich Gun Nuit X Yaba. Reminding you to go Eck yourself.